There's a lot of people in this room who maybe they grew up knowing who Jesus was. There's so many people in this room that whether they're Christian, whether they came from a different church in town, whether they're Catholic, whether they didn't even know church at all, they've heard the name Jesus, and who the heck is Jesus? We need Jesus to change us. Why we need Jesus to change us? Because there's so many people in this room who lived under their parents' faith for so long. There are people in this room who said, oh, Mom, Dad, that's amazing we're going to church. I don't really like church very much, but hey, I'll go. I don't really understand this Jesus stuff. I don't really know what's going on. But honestly, and sometimes you get sick of it, like, why am I even going to church anyway? This Jesus stuff isn't even for me. And then sometimes you'd be like, why is my parents making me read my Bible? Why am I reading this boring stuff? Why am I going to Sunday school? Why am I doing this? Why is my parents making me go to youth group? But honestly, there's so many people who, for the longest time, were like, why? Why on earth am I following Jesus? Because I don't even know who he is. My parents have made him out to be this God so high and far away. But tonight, this entire year, this whole thing, we want to get you guys, like I was just saying, out of that 1% startup. That 1% startup on that MacBook Pro. We want to get you guys out of that. We want to get you into your destiny, into it getting to completing the install of this disk that you put into your computer about maybe it was a few months ago, maybe it was a few years ago, maybe it's been since you were born, but every single person in this room at some point in their life has had an experience with Jesus, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. And this program's loading on your computer tonight. This program called Christianity. Maybe you don't even know what it is. Maybe you don't even know who God is. Maybe you don't even know who Jesus is. Why the heck am I here tonight? But tonight I can promise you that this program loading on your computer called Christianity that you think is stuck at 1% can be easily solvable. That Jesus can 100% come into your life and completely change you. But there's so many people in this room right now that are struggling with depression, struggling with anxiety. There's so many people in this room that are struggling with porn addiction tonight. Jesus can completely change you. And you guys want to know why sometimes we get sucked up and why our program on our computer is completely not working? It's because we click the pause button on the loading screen. And we go into our computer settings and we say, just like me and Josh, we go and practice first aid on our hard drive. We go and we change all the settings to make sure that all the settings were good. We'd even do a Google search to see what was wrong, but in the entire time, in the whole time that we were doing it, all we were trying to do was do it ourselves. This whole time, a lot of us have been trying to live our faith by ourselves and not let Jesus run our faith for us. But for us, there's so many people in this house, there's so many people in this place who've been stuck. And I feel like there's a lot of people, like especially tonight, who've been stuck at 1%, who've been stuck on their relationship. Where do I go next? I don't want to pray. Why do I have to do this Jesus stuff anyway? I want to go into a book in the Bible that is most usually referenced as a Christian pickup line. Called the Book of Numbers. But I want to go to chapter 21, verse 4. And this is going to be kind of weird because this is going into the Old Testament, that book that a lot of people in here neglect to read because, the Old Testament's boring. Why would I go into Numbers? That's a boring book. Yeah, it is. But I want to get into Numbers today because I believe this passage right here speaks totally of Jesus and what Jesus wants to do in so many of your guys' lives. So tonight I want you just to focus in on this passage as I read it, okay? And it's going to be up on the screen behind me. I think the translation is a little bit different, so it might sound a little bit weird, but here. Then they set out for the Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to bypass the land of Edom, but the people became impatient because of the journey. The people spoke against God and Moses. Why have you led us up from Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no bread or water, and we detest this wretched food. You guys, before I go any further on this, there's so many people here. Why, God? Why, Jesus? Why you? Why are you even doing this? I hate church. I hate youth group. I hate my parents for making me go to it. But some of us, we can totally just say to Jesus, man, God, why are you even doing this? God, why are you allowing me to go through depression? Why are you allowing these things to happen to me? And we can curse him and we can say, God, you seriously messed up, Lord. just like the Israelites did. There's no bread or water. We detest this food. And sometimes this food, it's really kind of funny. This kind of came to my mind right now. This food right here in this passage is actually talking about Jesus. Because Jesus is the bread of life. He's the one that brings salvation. He's the one that can break free you in all situations that you're in tonight. And we can never neglect Jesus for what he's done for us. Anyway, then the Lord sent poisonous snakes among the people, and they bit them, so many Israelites died, and everyone's like, what the heck is going on? This is already getting a weird story. The people then came to Moses and said, we've sinned by speaking against the Lord and against you. Intercede with the Lord so that he will take the snakes away from us. And Moses interceded for the people. Interceding is just Moses praying for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, make a snake image and mount it on a pole. When anyone who is bitten looks at it, he will recover. So Moses made a bronze snake and mounted it on a pole. It's like a piece of wood, just a big old snake. He just kind of nailed it to this big old pole. And whenever someone was bitten, he looked at the bronze snake and he recovered. This is totally Jesus, you guys. This is totally Jesus, you guys. I'll kind of get into why this is totally Jesus a little bit later. But I want you guys just to kind of think about what was verse 6 said. Then the Lord sent poison snakes among the people. And a lot of people died from the poison that these snakes had. But for tonight, you guys, I just want to make it clear, I want to make it real to you guys, that there is a poison. That there is a poison in the world. There are snakes in the world. And I'm going to be real honest with you, that poison's sin. For those of you who don't know what sin is, it's something that separates you from Jesus. But I'm just going to be completely honest. When we in the garden, when we in the beginning walked away from Jesus, when we walked away from the garden back in Genesis, a lot of people know that story, Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And then a lot of people know that after that point, after that happened, we walked away from God because we sinned against him. I couldn't even imagine what Adam and Eve were feeling in that moment. But because of that, there's a sin, there's a poison in this world that will infect you so deeply. There is a poison that will make you feel depressed. There is a poison that will make you feel anxious. There is a poison out there that will make you argumentative, and it will make you feel disgusting inside. There's a poison in you that's almost unavoidable, it seems, when it comes to struggling with. But you guys, I want you guys to get something here. You want to know why Moses took a pole? I don't have a pole with me, but why God told him to go take a pole and make a bronze image of a snake and put it up on that pole. And if a lot of you guys aren't already getting this, that snake on that pole is Jesus. That snake on that pole is Jesus. And he wants to set you free. And you want to know why he's on that pole in the shape of a snake? It's because the man who knew no sin became sin. The man who knew no sin became a snake for you, so you didn't have to deal with it anymore. Stop getting stuck in your 1% here. So Moses made a bronze snake and mounted it on a pole, and whenever someone was bitten and he looked at the bronze snake, say it with me, he looked at the bronze snake. He looked at the bronze snake. He recovered. Some people think tonight it's so difficult to get out of your 1%, to get out of your sin. But I'm going to tell you guys tonight, it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. Because tonight, all you have to do is look at the man who knew no sin but became sin to take your sin away from you. That's all you have to do is look to Jesus, and he'll save you. He came to the world for this after all. He came to do this for you after all. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever would believe in him would have eternal life. But Jesus died for you guys. He died for you, and he wants you to have faith of your own. He wants you guys to look up to the snake on the tree and say, Jesus, I need you. Jesus, I need you. Because every single person who looked up at that snake had their poison in their body taken out of them. Sin, in this example, I know this is kind of a metaphor, but the poison from the snakes didn't affect them anymore. But for us today, that means that sin doesn't affect us anymore. Maybe you guys have heard this in your churches. Maybe you've heard it at home, that you're a sinner. Who's heard that before? That you're a sinner? Hands up if you've heard that you're a sinner. Did you guys know that you're not a sinner if you've given your life to Jesus? That because of Jesus, when you looked at God, he took your sin away from you. Jesus did not do a half-butt job on that cross. He took your sin away from you. You are no longer a sinner, you're a saint. You're no longer someone who is disgusting and unworthy. You are someone who has gone from 1% to complete in Jesus. 1% to complete in Jesus. You're no longer a sinner. You guys know we were reading, was it Philippians, Joash, that we've been reading out of? Or is it Philippians 4? The verse that we, for this year. 1 Peter 2:9, okay. One of the things in there, did you guys know that you guys have gone from sinner to God's special possession? Do you know that? You've gone from sinner to God's special possession. God himself looked at you and he said, I don't want them to struggle with sin anymore. I don't want them to struggle with sin anymore. And he's instead decided to call you special. Jesus wants to set you free tonight. He wants to set you free this month. He wants to set you free this year. Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must be lifted up, so that everyone who believes in him may have eternal life. And get this, for God so loved the world in this way, he gave his one and only Son, that everyone who believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. Jump down to verse 19. This is the judgment. The light has come into the world, which is Jesus. And the people loved darkness rather than the light because their deeds were evil. And people love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light and avoids it, so that his deeds may not be exposed. But anyone who lives by the truth comes to the light, so that his work may be shown and be accomplished by God. Jesus is not a 9-step process. Finding freedom is not a 9-step process for you guys tonight. Because there's only one step. And that step is from darkness into light. That's your only step. Is from darkness into light.